In a recent workshop with Nikandra Moran from Exceptional Tax Services, she talked about the foundation of having a great business and also making your taxes a little bit easier is great bookkeeping. And that's where Moxie's accounting suite comes in. We help you keep all of your expenses and your payments and income straight so that you know exactly how profitable your business is. You want to know where your time and money are going. Plus, it works with all of the other features in Moxie, making it super easy for you to create a full accounting suite and make your accountant super happy with how organized you are. When you click on accounting, you'll see you have all of these tabs. This first one is invoices. So with your invoices, you can see that you can add an ad hoc line item. You can either you can keep track of all your products and services and their rates, or add in a new one. You'll name it and add in the rate for that service, and then you don't have to wonder what you charged someone else before. Your rate and your product or service will always be here at your fingertips in this product and service library. You can also track your hours or billable projects or your retainers, and Moxie will help keep track for you. So if you add that to a client, Moxie will help keep track of what has been added to an invoice and what has not, and then make it easy for you to add to your invoice. If you have expenses, which I'll show you a little bit more in a second, you'll see this add reimbursable expense. And anything that you have checked as reimbursable that has not yet been added to an invoice will be here for you. And if you have requested a deposit, you'll be able to see the deposit you've collected, what's available that hasn't yet been applied to an invoice, and then choose to apply that to this invoice. It's easy to share this either via a Moxie email, or you can download a PDF and send it your way. You'll get a quick oversight into what's happening with your money here as well, with your total invoiced, what is due, and the average days to pay for all of your clients. You can use these filters to see just certain types of invoices, and also just to search by certain clients if you prefer as well. We also have recurring invoices. So you can set up a recurring invoice by clicking the plus button and choosing to create an invoice. You'll add it to a client, and then you'll get to choose a standard, a deposit, or a recurring invoice. When it comes to your recurring invoices, you also get to choose how often and how these get sent. So you'll add in how often it recurs and the interval, as well as when it starts and when the project is over. You can choose to send them automatically, or you can choose to approve them. So if you check this box, this invoice will send automatically. If it's unchecked, you'll get a notification that is asking for your approval. If you do have Stripe payment set up, you have the ability to save that credit card payment information on Stripe's secure servers for your clients, and then you can check this automatically charge on due date. So you'll be able to, once this has been entered into Stripe, you'll have a drop down here where you'll see the card that you want to charge, and it will automatically charge your client on that due date. So then you don't have to keep chasing down your clients for payment. You can choose how you want to break down the lines. So if you have a client that you exclusively work hourly rates for, you could show them every single day that you work, or you could just give them the whole week's totals in each line, or month, or the total, depending on how you would like to show that in this recurring invoice. And you can also choose to add all of the billable hours or billable projects. This is here because let's say you are going to bill based on a completed project, but you still want to keep track of your hours so that you can know, oh, I should charge more for projects like this, or I could charge differently for projects like this. So you may not want to add billable hours to this recurring invoice. Maybe you just want to add projects, or vice versa. So you get to choose all of those things because this is your invoice. You can set up your payment terms by choosing how long your client has to pay, and the late payment fee if they miss that due date. You can add in any notes here and payment instructions as well. Here again is a chance for you to set up those payment terms. So that is your recurring invoice, and you can always see those when you click on invoices. You'll be able to see these recurring invoices and edit them as necessary. If you get payments from another source or other income, you'll be able to add that here by clicking on payment, or you can set up a recurring payment. So if every month you get a payment for a royalty or something else like that from another source that isn't an invoice, you can set up a recurring payment. You'll notice this looks very similar to recurring invoices. You can set up how much, how you're getting paid, and how often it's going to happen and when it will end if it does. Now you'll be able to see the status and how you were paying each of these clients. You can see if your Stripe or PayPal is connected, or you can choose ACH. However, that payment cleared, you'll be able to see that payment type here attached to this actual payment. When it comes to your expenses, it's so important that you make sure every single time something is charged to your business that you know what it is. So there will be Stripe fees if you are using Stripe. And if you do your invoicing through Moxie, then you'll be able to see those fees are getting added here in your expenses automatically. So you won't have to go back and find all your Stripe fees. They will be here in your expenses automatically. If you want to add a new expense, you can do that. Quickly add the receipt here. If you assign this expense to a client, then you can assign it to a project, and you can check this button that says reimbursable. If this expense is reimbursable, now you'll be able to add this to a future invoice, and Moxie will track whether or not it's been added to an invoice yet. Add in as much detail here as you can. When it comes to bookkeeping, you cannot have enough details. You'll add in the category. This is going to help you and your accountant as you work on your write-offs when it comes to be tax time. If you work with a vendor over and over, you can add a vendor here, and it'll drop down and you can say, oh, I'm going to add this to this specific vendor. You choose the date that you have paid, or if it still needs to be paid, add in, of course, your amount and tax rate as well, and any notes that you'd like to have in your expenses. You can see here that this one has already been included in an invoice. So I had checked reimbursable, and now I can see I have also billed for that. And if you have recurring expenses like your Google Workspace account, you can always set that up here as well. So you'll choose to create a recurring expense, set up how often it recurs, how much it is, and then again, add in as many details as you can, because that will always help you in your bookkeeping. If you're working with let's say another freelancer, or you work pretty often with the same subscription service, you can add that here in your vendors. This is going to help you track your 1099 or their other tax information. You'll be able to keep all of that vendor information here. And so then if you owe something to a vendor because you've added it here in your expenses, you'll be able to track that here in your vendors as well. When you have added all of your income and your invoices plus your expenses, you will get a full profit and loss report. So here, this will show you how much money you've made, the expenses that you have paid, and your net income. So you know exactly how profitable your business is. And we give you a quick chart to show you what your expenses are as well as what your profit is. And you'll get to see that kind of measured against each other. You can also download this report, and you can choose the amount of time that you want to see and what you want to download. When you download this, you'll get a full Excel spreadsheet with all of your invoices, all of your payment, all of your expenses in each sheet. So it will be a super detailed spreadsheet for you to hand over to your accountant whenever you need to.